Time for a spiritual awakening. Time for a spiritual awakening.
Well, today's segment, actually, there are going to be 3 or 4 segments. This segment is entitled The Indivisible Whole, WHOLE, and that's from the Science of Mind magazine for March of 2021. The Indivisible Whole. And here's a quote from Ernest Holmes. The answer to every question is within man, because man is within spirit, and spirit is an indivisible whole. Well, right there we have such a beautiful comment writing to comment about, because we are in the likeness and image of God. And as in the likeness and image of God, nothing is missing. We are whole and complete. We are divine. We are an expression of holiness, HOLE. And that holiness, of course, is our wholeness as well. So there's nothing missing. At the metaphysical level, there's nothing missing. And certainly at the physical level, we can impart our thoughts from the metaphysical to the physical so that we are thinking whole and complete and divine. And so everything in our physical world will represent and symbolize, and we will perceive as whole and complete. Whole and complete above, whole and complete within, and whole and complete as an expression here on the earthly plane, the 5 senses, the physical. But let's read a little bit more in this section here. This is for Wednesday, March 17th. You are the light and love of God. You are the way the presence of the divine is made manifest. You are one in and of the indivisible whole, which means no matter what appearances are, all is well. Remember, wholeness also means nothing is missing. You are the light and the love of God. We are spiritual beings. Yes, we have a human experience, but primarily and inherently, we're spiritual beings. We're made in the likeness and image of God. That is love. That is formless. That is eternal soul. That is the essence of mind. Mind aligned with God and Christ is the essence of who and what we are. And that consciousness continues through eternity. We're continually expressing consciousness because God is expressing as us as consciousness. That's love. That's who we are. We have the ability also, because we're whole and complete and holy and divine, to exemplify to others holiness and divinity if they've forgotten that that's who they are as well. Well, the next paragraph says, being one with the infinite is being one with all of life. The good of life is everywhere present. However, the only way to experience this truth is to recognize the truth as living in, through, and as you. So again, it's not something that's outside of us. It's something that is initially within us as our source. Infinite source, infinite intelligence is in our minds. And then our minds express through thoughts and beliefs what we choose. Do we choose positivity or are we choosing negativity? If we choose positivity, then we're going to perceive and express and manifest consistent with those thoughts. Those are affirmations. Those are thoughts of godliness. And they're truthful. They're reality. That is the truth. The negativity is the falsity. It has no reality because there's nothing false about God. So there's nothing false about us or our thoughts or our manifestations. It has to be consistent with that which God is. Because God is omnipresent, God is everywhere, and God is perfect. This is the indivisible whole that we're talking about. This will take some practice because we're bombarded with news that life is something to be feared. Fear is not of God. As Ernest Holmes put it in his Science of Mind textbook, God is not sick, God is not poor, God is not unhappy, God is never afraid. Being one with the indivisible whole Being one with the wholeness of the divine really means we are not created to experience anything but grace, beauty, and peace. Let's focus on that. Grace, beauty, peace. Let your minds settle into that. Let your mind just float into the idea of grace and beauty and peace. What images come up in your mind? You know that those images of grace, beauty, and peace that you hold in your thoughts can then be expressed, extended, projected, manifested, demonstrated. Your life will be surrounded with grace, beauty, and peace because those are your thoughts. Thoughts are things that are extended out. Our lives are really a mirror expressing that which we believe and that's that which we think. Are we thinking positively with God? If we are, then our lives will be positive with God. That's the nature. That's the actual reality of the indivisible whole. There is no world save for what we create in our thoughts. Everything that we be, that we have, and that we do is an expression of our positivity. Anything that's an expression of negativity would be a delusion, would be an illusion, would be a falsity, and nothing unreal exists. Only the real, only the God-centered. That's the truth. And as God is never sick, we're never sick. As God is never poor nor unhappy, we're never poor and we're never unhappy. If we consistently practice these thoughts and we make them that which our lives consist of. Our lives are a product of our creative thinking. We can creatively think. God gave us that ability with free will. The key is to co-create with God. Align your thinking with God. Manifest your thinking as God-like, indivisible, whole, unity, knowledge and wisdom, peace, as it says here, grace and beauty. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way of thinking your way through life. Be uplifted. Choose to be uplifted. And if you need help, ask that that help be provided for you in your positive thinking. I am receiving the help that I need. I am discovering those things that are missing in my thinking to create peace and joy and grace and happiness. And that's the truth. Well, this is not spiritual bypass. This is abiding in the truth of our being. Once we practice knowing we are whole and complete, we are lifted up to realize that our thoughts, our feelings, and words create the life of wholeness, which, by the way, is our natural state of being. Well, this isn't spiritual bypass. This is going directly to our minds, which is the heart of spirituality. Mind, soul, thinking, spirituality, divinity, creativity, all in thoughts of God and self, true self. And this is the abiding truth of our nature. This is our beingness. And we practice this knowing that we are whole and complete. So we want to bring forth, consistent in our thinking with wholeness and completeness, the indivisibleness that we are. And we create a life of wholeness. It's a mirror, as we had said, which, by the way, is our natural state of being. There's nothing wrong with enjoying abundance. There's nothing wrong with enjoying perfect health, perfect wellness, perfect happiness, the grace of God. That's unconditional. We don't really even have to deserve it or work for it or sacrifice for it. It's given us as our birthright. We are an expression of God. God is who and what we are. The nature of God is who and what we are. And so all of the good that comes with that, God is never sick, God is never poor, God is never unhappy, and neither should we. If you practice this every day with affirmations and give up the negativity, this is so important that we do this. Practice giving up thinking negatively about others, talking negatively about others. Give it up and let it be the truth that they and we are the indivisible whole. Final thought here. I am one with the whole of life. I am one in God. All is well, and I am grateful. Well, here's our next segment, and this is the next entry in the Science of Mind magazine for March 18th, 2021. The title is The Greatest Gift. And a quote here from Ernest Holmes. And God said within himself something after this fashion, quote, if I wish to have a man who is a real being, I must give him self-choice, close quote. Well, self-choice is exactly what we'll talk about today, the greatest gift. We have the ability to choose the nature of our lives. We have the ability to choose the direction of our lives. Is it towards positivity? Is it through goodness? Is it through kindness? Is it through love? Is it through abundance? Is it through wellness? Is it through full self-expression and love? These are the things that we can think of. These are the things that we need to think of because it's the truth that's been given to us. We don't want to veer off course so that we're thinking in a contrary way, contrary to what God's creation is. God created us as fulfilled. God created us in its likeness and image. Rich, healthy, well, happy, resourceful, loving. Well, here's a reading. One of the greatest gifts we possess as divine human beings is the gift of choice. We get to choose what to think, say, and do. Our thoughts create our lives, and we get to choose the thoughts we think. It's an amazing gift with which we have been endowed. Let us use that gift wisely, consciously. Let's choose to think of a world we want to experience. Well, think about that a moment. What is it in your world, in your environment, in your family, in your work, in your bodily health and well-being that you want to experience? Bring it up into your conscious mind and then repeat it, affirm it, live consistent with it, and it will be embedded in your subconscious mind, which is where things get changed at the metaphysical or God level. Conscious choice then plants seeds of wellness, of riches, of abundance, of love in the unconscious, subconscious mind. And then they bear the fruit, the flower. They come to bear. They are our choice. So you have one of two choices, negativity or positivity. Which kinds of seeds are you going to be planting in your subconscious garden, your mind? Because that's what's going to grow and that's what you'll harvest. Are you going to be harvesting the good, the plentiful, the enthusiastic, the well, uh, the feeling of energy, of enthusiasm, of motivation, of love, of caring? This is what we plant consciously, whether we believe it or not. We're planting those seeds. It's a matter of affirmation. And then we can conjure up a feeling consistent with the affirmation. This is all constructed by the ability that we have, the greatest gift, to create, and particularly in co-creation with the positive God that we know is our source. Source is positive. It's never negative. It's never punishing. It's never sinful and guilt-ridden. It's always sinless, guiltless, always filled with grace, always filled with power, powerfulness. That's who we are. And we can create anything that is of a positive nature. Enough with creating the negative. Negativity is easy to think, but we can practice positivity. And in the positive thinking, conjure up feelings of what it's like to be resourceful, abundant, healthy, wealthy, wise. You can experience that in the moment because you're calling upon your source, which is healthy, wealthy, and wise as our source. And of course, those seeds get planted in the subconscious mind as well, and they replace all of the negativity. It's just like weeding out a garden. We take away all of the negative plants and all the negative harvest that bore the negative fruit, the poisoned fruit, the poisoned thinking. We're through with that. Now we're thinking positively. One of the greatest gifts we possess. Let's choose a world that we want to experience. I love that. I'm so excited to be sharing this ministry with you because it's a ministry and a teaching that'll make you happy, joyous, and free. And that's what we want to be. We want to be surrounded by happy, joyous, and free people. We want to be happy, joyous, and free. But there's more to it than just thinking about it. The world we want takes action. And as is cited in James 2:26, faith without works is dead. You know what makes a gift a gift? Well, giving it away. That's what it says. This is faith in action. Also, don't be selfish with your gifts. Share the gifts with the world. When you give of your gifts, no matter whose gifts they are, you'll also receive the benefits of these gifts. Well, this is the nature of giving and receiving are the same. As we give, we receive. As a matter of fact, as we give, we receive in abundance. We receive in tenfold. So give of yourself generously. There's no scarcity. God is not scarce. God is not lacking. And we are made in the nature and the likeness of God. So we lack nothing. Our previous segment, we were commenting on how whole and complete we are. We have everything that we need. All we need do then is think consistent and in alignment with the plentiful and the abundant. Share it, extend it, give it, see it in others because they have the same greatest gift. The greatest gift is indivisible wholeness. And see them that way. Yes, they may need some advice. They may ask for our advice. What advice would we give? We would give advice consistent with this wisdom teaching. Look, you have within you the greatest gift, the ability to choose, the ability to think, the ability to make your life an outward demonstration of your inner thoughts, which are of greatness, of wholeness and divinity, of, the super ego. Don't think egoic thoughts that are negative, scarcity, lacking. We're not ego bound. We're super ego. We're super spiritual. That's consistent with the co-creation that we're dealing with. The greatest gift the world has received is the gift of you. Now that means your consciousness, your soul, and your individuality as a gift in the physical temple body to express all of this. Yes, you're a gift to the world. No one does what you do in the same way that you do it. Your personality is individual and distinct for you. Use it. Use it to share the love. Use it to learn your lessons in love. That's what we're here to do. Teach only love. You bring so much to the world. Do not be afraid to share what you were born with. Choose to be great. And that doesn't mean egoic. It means super egoic, meaning super conscious, super positive, super aware. So this is what we're talking about here, the super consciousness. So we have super consciousness, consciousness, and subconsciousness or unconsciousness. All of them work in tandem. The super conscious is from God. The conscious are my thoughts that I choose consistent with alignment with the superconscious. And I then plant those thoughts in my subconscious because I want them to be harvested at some time soon. They're already there. The fruit is within the seed. It's just a matter of planting it and then taking care of it by watering it and consistently affirming it. And that's what we do, and then we harvest. Faith without works is dead. So we want to make sure that our lives are an example of that which we're thinking, with the super consciousness, the consciousness, and the subconscious all in alignment with God itself. Well, here's a final statement. I am God's gift to the world. I joyfully share my gifts and talents with the world. I am grateful for who I am. Well, you are a gift, and you have gifts to give, and you have gifts and talents that only you possess. Use them, share them, enjoy them. Make life a wild experience. Amen. Well, welcome to our third segment of this episode. We're going to be reading in this segment from 365 Days of Richer Living. And this is an entry for July 5th. It says, I receive my good. The truth leads me into a more abundant spiritual life. I now learn to forget the wrong that may have appeared in my outer world, and turning with gratitude to that inner light, I think upon those things which are good. In doing this, I become emancipated from my previous bondage. I love the idea of being released. The prison door is open, and that's a function of my right mind. I have the key to happiness and joy and abundance and resourcefulness, creativity, health, all the things that make for a happy and joyous expression of God life, spiritual life. And that key is within my mind. It's the Christ consciousness. It's the Buddha consciousness. The happiness, the joy, the fulfillment is what is intended. The universe is friendly. It offers me everything I've ever wanted if I align my thinking with the universe, with the source energy, with God itself. And so this particular reading says, open the jail door, get out of bondage, be willing to receive, be willing to give. Giving and receiving are reciprocal. They're the same. My life is a matter of giving and receiving love, forgiveness, happiness, joy, fulfillment, good feelings, kindness, all the good that love intends. That's who I am. That's who you are. Everything is as it should be and will be eternally. We know this because all the mystics and the prophets and the books of wisdom have proclaimed this to be the truth. We read these books, we listen to these mystics, these ascended masters. All of them actually are within our own minds, representing the height of what we're seeking within ourselves. I am a Buddha becoming. I am a Christ unfolding. I am Jesus as my elder brother who sought the truth and, of course, was granted the awakening and the enlightenment to truth. I'm no less. You're no less. There's great reason to be happy and joyful. There's no reason to be sad, no reason to be fearful under the ego's auspices. The ego is insane. We let go of the ego thoughts. There is no ego. It's only held up by virtue of my belief in it. And I take my belief and I reserve it now for God and God's love. No more ego beliefs. My consciousness is centered in the truth. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. This is the truth, and I love it. I love sharing it. I love being with you and encouraging you. You have the right to live out your aspirations of being an inheritance of God. God has given you everything good. Inherit it, receive it, sign off on that as your life from morning until night. Every day, live as if it's the day that God gave you, and it is true. This is the day that God created. Let us rejoice and celebrate in it. There's no reason to be sad, no reason to be anxious, no reason to believe in the ego. I mentioned earlier in this segment the superego, and I want to correct what I had said there. What I was really talking about is superconsciousness. Superconsciousness looks at the ego and then gently puts it aside. Any ego thoughts are fearful. Every and all ego thoughts, super and otherwise, really are egotistical, edging God out. And we don't want to include that in our repertoire of thoughts and beliefs. Our thinking and our mind is reserved for only the best, and that is God. The superego would be focusing on my own greatness. And I want to focus on mine and your greatness as one. There's a unity that the superego can't acknowledge because the superego is only about oneself. So that's grandiosity. We're looking for the grandeur of the universe, the grandeur, not just grandiosity, the grandeur that I embody and that you embody and express. That's the purpose of having the temple body, so that we can express the grandeur. So, just that little note of correction. And here we are, celebrating the truth together. What's your day going to be like today? Make it one that's aligned with the Christ and the Buddha, the Tao, the Shekhinah, the Dharma. Let it be aligned with your path of 12-step work, your path, whatever it may be. Are you a mystic? Are you a Taoist? Do you believe in the Zoroastrian methods? Uh, there's so many ways to define one's day spiritually, all based in love, all based in a heightened sense of joy and enthusiasm. We are inspired in the spirit, inspired. And that's the love. That's the way. And we're following it and we're encouraging it. I'm your cheerleader. I believe in it so greatly, and I know that you do too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the practice that you practice. Now, we're starting a Sunday call, a conference call, and if you're interested, let me know. My phone number for more information about this Sunday call of enthusiasm and inspiration is 615 415 2097. There'll be a graphic at the end of our episode today showing that phone number. And you can contact me about the information to get on the Sunday morning call at 10 a.m. Central Time. Well, it's been a joy and a pleasure being with you. I'm so glad that you are being enthusiastic today, practicing your practice of prayer, meditation, giving and receiving, being uplifted, knowing the truth, coming from the truth, loving the truth. That is the way it is. And that's the truth that we were made purposefully and functionally as the truth. And we will teach love, teach only love, for that is who and what we are. Well, again, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to the NECAT Network. Thank you for the editing of these videos to my wife, Candace. And we will talk and see you again, and maybe on Sunday as well. Bye now.